Here is a Patton high velocity fan since 1945, and it sure was a lot better quality back in 1945. I picked this up at the fan meet. It was either free or $1, I don't remember. Worth it either way, if nothing else, just to make a video to show what's wrong with this one. So this one is very late in the game. I believe this might actually be after the Holmes buyout. This one is, do we have a date code on here anywhere? It says 0148 or 46 on the stator. I'm not sure if that's a date code or not. It's like a fake Macmillan motor. I'm not sure actually what kind of motor it is. It's still 2.6 amps, so it's at least built pretty powerfully. But the major problem here is not so much the motor, it's the blade. This uses a stamped blade. So it's literally a piece of sheet metal, and there's a big machine that has a cutout, and it cuts the shape of the blade, and then there's another machine that bends it into shape. And that's it. And then the I guess probably a machine also takes that piece of stamped metal and somehow very poorly connects it to a, I don't know, how do you call this piece? That piece in the center there which goes on the shaft. It connects it to that piece, and then it's slapped on the fan. Now, this is a very dangerous product in this particular case because this blade is about to explode. A stamped blade is perfectly fine in a lot of cases, like a 6-inch bathroom exhaust fan or an 8-inch refrigerator condenser fan, etc. Those cases it's totally fine. But in the case of an 18-inch high power, high performance fan, it is totally unacceptable. These are very powerful fans. I believe the motors are at least 1750 RPM, and it moves a tremendous amount of air, and so there is an outrageously high amount of force on the center hub of this blade, and the sheet metal is just not able to withstand it. The older models, which were of course built better, used a steel, I think it's called a spider, in the center, which connected to that piece that goes on the shaft, and it had like 3 steel wings, and then the blades were riveted, individual blades were riveted onto that steel spider, and that's the correct way to do it. This is totally unacceptable, and it's very dangerous. I had a blue one like this, which I was able to find a replacement blade for, a real blade, and actually I have what I'm talking about right here. So this blade is built properly. You see the blades are stamped sheet metal, but we have a very thick, see how thick this is? It's several times the thickness of the blades. Very strong piece here, which the blades are riveted onto, and then this piece goes on the shaft. This is good, and this is not. So what's happening here, there's 2 failures that go on with these blades. The other one that I have is a blue one, and it's failed the exact same way. I was able to get a replacement blade for that though. So the problem here is that this one is cracking. Actually, I'm going to take the camera off the tripod for this. Let me get a closer view here. The blade is cracking in the center due to the extreme force during operation. You can see multiple cracks. Cracked there. It's cracked there. And is it cracked on the bottom? Let's see. Yep, it's starting to crack down there. So that's one failure mode. And then the second failure mode is, then this is what happened with my other one. The sheet metal detaches from that piece there, whatever that piece is called, and it just slides back. So this is really dangerous, and I don't understand why there was not a recall on this. I don't know if maybe the incidents just never happened or the blades were contained within the guard when it happened. I don't know. But this is very, very dangerous on these units that have blades like this. They're not all like this. Most of them were built correctly. Actually, this here is the original blue model that I had, and you can see I replaced the blade with the riveted style. This is perfectly safe. This one is built properly. This one also has the riveted blades. This one is built properly. This old one is built properly with the riveted blades. Most of them are built properly, but there was a year or two where they built them like this, and it's terrible. This is a very, very dangerous product. I'm not even sure that I really want to use this, even just for the test. I'm going to replace the blade. I kind of want to turn it on just to see what will happen, but I really think that it might potentially explode. And due to the speed at which these things operate, that would be a very violent event. Potentially quite deadly. I mean, if a blade flings off and severs you in some particular spot where there's a vein or something, I mean, this could be very dangerous. Now, I think that this has already partially failed, because you can see the switch apparatus here is all busted up, and with how far back the blade is, because it's so weak, I would not be surprised if during operation the blade hit the box there and caused that to explode. Or it might have just tipped over or something, but to me that looks like it happened from the inside. The cord is replaced on this, which is kind of an unusual thing to have happen. This has definitely been around the block. I think this was used in some kind of commercial application. It's got that fine like garage dust or auto shop dust. This is not household dust on here. And the motor, the windings are actually very clean, which is kind of funny. The windings are almost perfectly clean, but you can see that there is plenty of dust built up around it. So it's allowed to draw, according to the tag, 2.6 amps. Oops. This is the information tag on the motor. It says it's an 8 microfarads capacitor. It's a Raider motor. So this is after the Holmes buyout. I'm fairly certain. Because Holmes was notorious for using Raider motors. And as we have seen in recent videos here, Holmes really did not make a good fan at this time. Let's see if I can zoom into the informations here. So I only got this because once you replace the blade, this is a pretty good fan. We just have to replace that blade. Now, I actually bought a replacement blade for my blue one before I found a proper blue Patton blade. And that was this blade that I showed earlier. This one here. If I recall correctly, I tested this blade once, and it ran this blade just fine. So I kind of want to turn it on just to get a sample of the power draw, but I am very nervous to start this up. I feel like this really could potentially be catastrophic. Why this is so crooked right now? There we go. Well, let's see here. We'll start it off on low, and I'm going to stand out, away from where the blades, because the blade's not going to come back. I think it would go out the side, so I'm just going to stand out of the way. This does not go back for some reason all the way. There is one of these drywall things on here. Somebody did some hackery to this at one point. I don't know if that's why it's like that or because it's just like that by design, because the stand is stupid. I don't know. I just want to get a power reading before we swap the blade to make sure that it can handle it. 119.6 the volts. Look at the amps on low. This is making me so nervous I can't even let it get up to speed. 1.3. I'm not going to go with a watts and power factor, whatever. I just can't. It's too risky. I need to write this down here. 1.3 on low. Oh gosh, this is so scary. That was 1.7. I really think this might blow up. Alright, we gotta... I really don't want to be anywhere near this thing. I'm gonna take an extension cord and I'm gonna put this away from me. Most likely, I think that the blade, the guard would probably contain it, but I really don't know. And I'd rather not find out, at least not in the house. Alright, that was 2.07, which is less than what it's allowed to draw. Okay, that was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done in probably months. Alright, let's see if we can get this guard off, get this blade off, and swap it with a blade that's not dangerous. If it's all rusted on and everything, then we'll leave that for a separate video, but if it's fairly simple to get off, then we'll just go ahead and do it now. It's a shame this is in such bad shape, because I don't have a silver one. I would have liked the silver one to go with my blue one, but it'll make a good garage fan or something. Certainly worth $1 and not worth throwing out, because even the ones made today don't have motors this good. Not that this motor's really anything to write home about, but it's good enough. Good enough to keep around. Yeah, this whole thing, I bet it fell at some point. Maybe that's when the switch broke. That is some scary stuff. Wow. Look at that. That's insanity. And to think that these might be running all over the country like this. Wow. If you have one of these, you better check to make sure it's not this blade. Because this blade is bad news. Now, if there's interest, I'll keep this blade and we'll revisit this and we can see if we'll get it to explode someday. I'll put it on like a 3000 RPM motor or something with a lot of power. We'll check it outside and I'll see if we can get it to just explode. But that is not an experiment for today or inside the studio. Ah, perfect, it came right off. Well, that's interesting. So there's some kind of a that's not a reducer, that's like a enlarging of the shaft apparatus. So this, it actually looks like this has been spinning on there and it was glued. Holy cow. So this actually already failed. And this was glued. That's why it looked like it was wet there. I thought that might have been oil. It's actually glued back on. So this has already failed. The blade already let go from this, whatever that piece is called, and it was glued back on. And look at this. I mean, these cracks go almost all the way through. good equipment. I'm all for fixing stuff, but that's crazy. And there's tape on the shaft for some reason, which is very, very hard. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remove that tape. I don't know what that would be there for. I have no idea why there would be tape on the shaft. I wonder if I can cut that off. It's scary what some people do to equipment. And I'm not a safety net either. I like to push the boundaries and whatever, but at some point, you know, too much is too much. I don't know what purpose that would have served, but we don't need that anymore because the blade is not broken anymore. Or at least not the blade that we're going to put on there. The motor itself seems like it's in good shape. Bearings seem free. I think it's a perfectly satisfactory quality motor. It's just not as good as what they used to make in these things. Yeah, this should work. As long as the blade's got enough, the motor's got enough power to run it. I wish the motor itself would have had a rating on there, but we'll go with the approximately 2 amps. Screw in the set screw. This is such an annoying angle to work at because it won't stay where I put it. Alright, that should be good. This blade unfortunately has become a little bit bent up as it's been floating around the garage for the last several months. That's unfortunate. This was a brand new blade in perfect clock. I'm going to have to go through and fix it now. But it is what it is. I'll fix it. Just want to get it remotely back into alignment. Otherwise it's going to shake like mad. That's better. I do hear the bearings a little bit, but it's probably just dry. And this blade at the moment has a decent pitch to it. I don't know if it always did or if it's changed or whatever. I don't really care. That blade is a joke. A joke in 3/4. It actually looks pretty cool with this blade. It's a combination that doesn't exist, but if it works, it works. Alright, let's try this. And I can stay near the fan this time because it's not a safety hazard. Well, I guess we're already running. Yeah, it needs to be balanced. I gotta fix that. So that is 1.31 amps. Power factor 0.91, and it before was 1.3 as well. So that's perfect on low. Let's try the medium. That is 1.71. We had 1.7 before, so that's the same. And on high, if we get 2, we're good. Yep, 1.99. So the blade's actually a perfect fit. It's the same draws the other one. So this is how we'll use it. It's moving some air. That's powerful. That's a shame it became so out of balance, but that's my fault. I can see the clock is really messed up, but I'll get it fixed. Yeah, I definitely need some oil. So we'll give it some oil, we'll service the motor, clean it all out, get all the dust out of there, and then we'll use it like this. It's a model that doesn't exist, but it looks pretty cool. And as far as functionality and performance goes, electrically it's still stock. So the motor should have no complaints running like this. I just noticed that this logo here has the plastic film on it. It's probably in near perfect condition. Let's see if we can get a peek under there and see what it looks like. Geez. If the logo is in good shape, then it might be worth the time to really try to clean this up good. Well, this is taking unreasonable amounts of time. How the heck is one supposed to get this off of there? Alright, I just got it started. It definitely has a plastic film on there. Oh yeah, it's in perfect condition underneath it. Ain't that something? Look at that. Ha! Unreal. Well, now I feel like I want to really clean this up nice. I guess this is a much bigger project than I thought it was going to be.